Welcome to Homeschool Nolan, here to help you navigate learning in the digital age. Tech companies have certainly been in the news lately, and in my previous video, I shared some warning signs that might indicate whether or not you will be laid off. Since then, at least a couple of my viewers have asked if I could do a follow-up video on finding a job if you've been laid off. Now, at first I was hesitant to make such a video as a lot has changed since the last time I was in this situation. But while it's been over 15 years since the last time I was let go by an employer, I'm under no illusion that it could never happen to me again. And I've sometimes thought about what I might do if I were to find myself in that situation again. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the things you should do if trying to find a job after being laid off are actually things you should be doing even if you're happily employed. And today, I'd like to share a couple of important things you should do if you find yourself looking for a job after being laid off. But first, I'd like to talk a little bit about how job hunting has changed in the digital age. When I first started job hunting way back in the 90s, it was before the internet had become so ubiquitous. So instead of applying for jobs online, I had to first find companies that I was interested in working for, and then print out my resume and a nice cover letter on nice expensive paper, and then mail in my application. Today, of course, all this is done online, and you can apply to almost any company with a few clicks of the mouse. But because it's so easy to apply, companies now often get hundreds, if not thousands, of applications for single openings. Since no human can sift through all these applications, companies now usually rely on software to filter out those keywords. Now, job hunting has never been easy, but the irony is that because applying for a job is so much easier today, it's actually harder and more competitive to stand out and get noticed by a potential employer. And this leads me to my first tip in finding a job, and that is leverage your network. The odds of landing a job simply by applying online are astronomically harder these days, especially during a recession. Employers simply receive too many online applications, which they increasingly have to hand over for AI software to filter and screen out. You have a much better chance of landing a job if you personally know someone who is hiring or someone who can at least influence a hiring manager. That's how I got my job after I was laid off for the first time. 22 years ago, I was let go by a small internet startup during the height of the dot-com bust. I remember talking to a lot of recruiters for a few months, but in the end, I got a job because a close relative of mine was also the director of engineering at another small startup. It was then that I realized that what matters more sometimes is not what you know, but who you know. What this means is that even if you're happily employed, you should still always be working to develop meaningful relationships at work. And this could mean going out to lunch with colleagues or joining them after work for happy hour, because you never know if you could use someone else's help someday. Now, if you're a younger person looking for a job and you just recently graduated from college, you may not yet have had as much time to build up your own personal network. But the advantage young people have over older people, like myself, is that it's easier for a younger person to pivot to another career. If you got your first job out of school in, say, a tech company, and it didn't work out, now's your chance to pivot and try something else that might be a better fit for you. It's harder, again, for older folks like myself to pivot and try a new career path because it would likely mean walking away from years of experience in a particular field and taking a huge pay cut. Regardless if you decide to pivot or not, if you have more free time now after being let go, try always meeting new people outside of a company. One way to meet new people is by volunteering for a nonprofit in your community and helping out with a cause you believe in. Not only can you network with new people, but you can also possibly pick up valuable job skills as well. But of course, Once you're connected with the right people, you still need to demonstrate that you also have the knowledge and skills for the job. And this leads me to my second piece of advice, and that is keep learning so that you can show what you know to potential employers. One of the advantages of not having a full-time job is that you now have a lot more time to learn new things and develop your skills. And the digital age has certainly provided platforms such as YouTube that enables you to learn just about any subject. Obviously, if you're looking for a job, you should focus on learning and improving your skills in your domain. If you're in tech like me, I highly recommend working on getting a certification that can validate your knowledge, such as a certification from one of the big cloud computing companies. If you're a software engineer, you should definitely share some of the code you've written on a public repository such as GitHub, so prospective employers can see examples of your work. Landing a job in the digital age means you must show, not just tell, employers what you can do for them. And even if you don't work in tech, you should still always try to find ways you can leverage the internet and online tools to showcase what you can do. Speaking of learning, if you're looking for an online platform for learning, check out Study.com. Study.com has over 8,300 engaging videos on language arts, math, science, history, and many other subjects. I use it with my son, and we find it a great way to support his homeschooling as well as my own supplemental learning. Use the coupon code HomeschoolNolan and get 30% off the first 3 months. Check out Study.com today. In summary, leveraging your network along with learning and showing what you can do is what you should focus on if you're searching for a new job. But there are also things we should always be doing even if we're still happily employed, as you just never know what might happen in the future. And if you happen to have been let go recently, try to focus on the opportunity you now have to learn and possibly reinvent yourself. Regardless of your situation, all of us need to continually renew ourselves if we are to do well in the digital age. And I wish you all the best of luck. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to click subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.